very pleased to be joined by the 2008 Masters champion. He appeared on several International President's Cup teams, also one of the great amateurs, winning that U.S. Pub Links. Trevor Immelman, good to be with you.
Gary, it's exciting. Thanks so much. Exciting to be here.
Well, you know what? We're at your home at Iowa, so this is your full swing special. So we're going to talk about everything that matters to you when it comes to the full swing. Now, we're going to start, you've got a wedge in your hand. Let's start with technique. When you've got a club in your hand that you, as one of the top players in the world, you expect to get it close in proximity to the hole. What are some of the things that are fundamental to your technique?
Absolutely. Distance control with wedges is of the utmost importance. And for me, I always like to really focus on the strike. If I can get the angle of attack and the strike correct, then I'm going to be able to control the trajectory and the spin, which is very important. So, you know, there's a few things that I work on when I'm doing that. I'll sit my weight a little bit more into my lead side. And then I'm always trying to find ways to keep my body moving and really keep the speed in the club.
Okay.
Because I feel like if my body tends to stall out and my right shoulder might droop down a little bit, then I get a little bit too handsy. And when you get some flash speed down at the bottom, you're not going to be able to control your distance as well. And then I'm really trying to feel like I keep my body working on the way through, and I can keep that follow through nice and short.
You're trying to get the ball as close to the hole when you have a club like that in your hand. How do you practice with that purpose?
I change it up a lot. I think it's more important to change it up and keep challenging yourself and have a variety of different targets and distances, and then it's just going to be time. I'll use little wedges and nines, and this is my sand wedge, which is 54. I'll go to my lob wedge, which is 58, and just really try and randomize my practice as much as I can, and then you got to take it to the golf course and experiment with it there and see which shots work best when you're out on the golf course. And then you can always try and lean on those when you're in competition.
Okay, let's see another one.
Okay, so like I said earlier, I'm gonna feel like the body keeps turning through, so I can keep the speed up in the club head, and nice abbreviated finish.
And you told me when you were at your best, you slowed down. You weren't trying to be slow, but you almost knew that the result was going to be good, so you were in a good place. That's a good feeling, is it not?
Yeah, I've definitely noticed, and it might not even be the way you're going about it physically, but more so the speed of things in your mind. And when I've played my best, I've definitely felt that, whether you want to call it the zone or whatever word you want to use, I've definitely felt that. And then at times when I've struggled, it's like, you know that you're a little uncomfortable, and you know that, you know, you might not be feeling that great, and you just kind of want that moment to be over with. Whereas when you're playing well, you're almost like milking it and just allowing everything to come to you instead of trying to force it.
Sure.
And you know, those are the moments that every athlete absolutely loves, when they can feel everything just settling down around them.
All right, let's see one more, and let's, you know, you said create that speed.
Yeah. So once again, I mean, I'm feeling like I'm attacking a little bit from the inside, and then I can keep the body moving, I can keep my arms moving, and I really feel like I'm hitting the turf with some aggression, but I'm not digging it. The club is bouncing through. So a little weight on the left side, and keep that middle moving through.
When we continue on Golf Channel Academy, he's going to go all the way through his bag, and we know the longer the clubs, the more difficult it would appear for the viewers out there. Much more on Golf Channel Academy after this. We are back on Golf Channel Academy. This is Trevor Immelman's Full Swing Special. And you started with the wedge. Now let's talk about some things that are essential to your golf swing. Tendencies. When I say that to you, what are yours?
First of all, always paying attention to the fundamentals from a standpoint of alignment, grip, posture, those kind of things that I've noticed over the years. But once I've taken the club back, the things I have to watch for is a lot of times my right hip will get a little bit lazy. And so what I mean by that is it's just not a deep enough turn. And so I'm always trying to feel like that right pocket keeps going and completes to the top. And then from there, I'm really trying to feel a nice soft transition. And I'm always trying to feel my right shoulder high. Because when I struggle, starts off with that right hip getting a little lazy, doesn't turn back as well, transitions a little too hard, and then I start sucking my right arm in, coming into impact, and so my shoulder plane gets a little bit too steep.
Okay.
And my right arm feels stuck.
Okay.
And that's when I'm really struggling with my ball striking. So those are the things I'm always keeping an eye on.
Fundamentals. Let's get back to that for a second. When people hear fundamentals, before you take the club back, if they're not sound, it's unlikely you're gonna make good contact with the golf ball. So for you, what are the keys to your fundamentals?
Just trying to be nice and relaxed and feel athletic. When I struggle, I get a little too saggy, and that's one of the things that makes that right hip a little lazy on the backswing. So I'm trying to feel on the balls of my feet, nice and athletic, and then feel, you know, that hip's nice and free on the way back, and that sets me up for a decent pass through the ball.
Okay, let's see another one, and focus on those things you were talking about as far as keeping that right hip, not letting it get lazy.
Okay, so here we go.
That's such good height right there. When you're at your best, what's the difference between what you're doing and where you think you may want to be?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I've noticed really over the last few days, looking at a lot of video, trying to notice some differences between the times I've played my best and when I've struggled. And I have noticed that on most of the weeks when I struck the ball well, my right arm would work quite differently on my backswing. And the arm would really, the elbow would stay forward quite a bit more. And then from there, I would be able to turn to the top and it would stay very tight to my body. And I noticed that when I've struggled a little bit, the arm sucks in a little bit more here. And then when I turn to the top, my right arm sits in a total different position. And I just think there's a certain slot at the top that every good golfer knows when he's in it. When he feels that slot at the top, you can just go ahead and be aggressive through the ball. And so I've been experimenting with that a little bit to see if anything comes of it.
Okay, let's see another one.
Okay, so for me right now, I'm trying to feel that right arm stays forward a little bit as I turn to the top.
For the viewer, some of them, you'll see them, they'll hang back more toward their heels, or they're getting out here because they're probably not close enough to the golf ball, which is a common fault. For you, do you feel, you mentioned athletic, do you almost feel like you have a slight lean forward toward the balls of your feet?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always felt like I've played my best standing a little closer rather than further, and having my ball position, you know, a ball forward rather than a ball too far back.
Okay.
So I'm always trying to, you know, edge a little closer to it and have the ball a touch further forward. And I feel like that just gives me a little bit more time.
All right, let's see one more, because your height on these shots has been spot on. Here's another one. When we continue, you know, shaping shots, it's something the average golfer, it's not easy to do, but it's fun to watch the best in the world do it. He's gonna do that. Plus, we're gonna get to the driver. He's been wanting to get to the driver.
Can't wait.
We'll do that on Golf Channel Academy. Now, shaping shots.
Yep.
If I said naturally for you, you're slightly open. Is it easier for you to shape it one way or the other?
When I've played my best, my stock shot has always been a little fade.
What are the things that you have to do to execute that?
Well, that's quite natural to me. So I would just go ahead and make my natural swing. But if I wanted to move one a little further left to right, I would, much the same as that wedge play, I would just be trying to feel like I'm really keeping my body moving. And the release, the feel through my hands is that the club is going to release a little bit more this way, as opposed to the draw would feel a little bit more rounded to me.
Okay.
So if I was going to hit the fade, I would be feeling a little bit more like that.
All right, let's see that stock.
So I'd aim a little
fade.
further left to fade it. That one felt pretty good.
Yeah, and it looked exactly like you drew it up. Do you try to visualize the flight? Does that help you with your path?
I think it can. I think sometimes it's so funny because you get your number from the caddy, you know, when you're out in a tournament, get your number, and you know straight away it's a 7 or an 8 iron, and you grab that club and you just walk up to it and you hit it straight away. It felt so good from the minute go. You didn't really need to stand behind it or visualize anything. I really try to play with as much instinct as I can.
Now, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to call on you to do something that is not as natural. If you're going to draw the golf ball, what adjustments do you make?
Well, at the end of the day, what you're trying to do to hit the draw is you're trying to get the path to be to the right of the face at the moment of impact. And so the way that I would ensure that is I may move the ball a little bit further back. And for me, that's also going to increase the angle of attack, which is going to move the path out a little bit more. So I'd move the ball back, and I would just feel, like I said earlier, the feeling for me through my hands and arms is that the follow-through is going to feel a little bit more rounded this time.
Okay.
It's not going to feel the way the fade did. The fade felt over here. The draw is going to feel a little bit more over there.
Okay.
So I move the ball back, and I'll aim a little bit right to adjust for that.
And there it is.
That was a real nice one. You know, it's I've been fortunate enough. I played a lot of golf with Nick Faldo back on the European tour, and when I came to play here in the States. And it was one of the things that he impressed on me really early in my career is he said he would have one backswing and 4 different follow-throughs. So he would have, you know, the baby draw, the big draw, baby fade, and then the bigger fade. And so he said he would go out, and he always just felt like he was making the same backswing, and then he would assign the correct follow-through to the desired shot shape.
Well, we got more with Trevor coming up on Golf Channel Academy. Welcome back to Golf Channel Academy. It's Trevor's Full Swing Special. You were just telling us how proud you were of that swing, standing on the 18th tee, trying to win that major championship in '08 at Augusta National. Now, we're going to let you reproduce it.
All right.
What was it that you remember most about that swing?
Well, it felt aggressive,
Yeah.
and the contact just felt real good. And, you know, that's just one of the best feels, is when you know that you've hit it flush. You know, it's probably the thing that keeps us all coming back.
Sure.
Regardless.
Now, let's see that. Conjure up those feelings, those emotions. And let's see that tee shot on 18 at Augusta National.
All righty, here we go.
You know, when you're driving it great, what are you doing well? What are the things that are the reasons why you will have a good driving week or a very good year driving the golf ball?
For me, it's much the same as the iron swing. I feel freedom with my right side, and the right side feels taller. As soon as I feel jammed up coming into the ball, that's generally for me when I have to kind of drag the handle across it and to the left a little. And that's when I'm struggling to find the strike and the timing.
Okay.
And so whenever I felt my best, and one of the reasons I feel like I could go aggressively at it, is because that right side feels nice and free.
Okay. Let's see another one. Everybody loves to hit their driver, but not a lot of amateur golfers look relaxed when they're hitting their driver. What are some things that they can do, whether it's the way that they're holding the club, how much tension they have in their arms and in their shoulders? How can we get relaxed?
It's very important to keep moving and not to feel like you're strangling the grip too much.
Yeah.
And what I mean by keep moving is a lot of people in pro-ams that I play with, they are so jammed up with swing thoughts that they get over the ball and they kind of bang the club on the ground, and you can just see the tension creeping into their arms. And a lot of times it's amazing to me when I play pro-ams how often on the tee, once getting into the shot, how many players don't even look up to see where they're aligned. They're so focused on the different things they're trying to pull off in their swing, they actually don't even take a moment to look out there and, you know, coordinate themselves.
Sure. All right, so how do you do it?
Well, one of the things that I've always enjoyed watching some of the greats is that a lot of the great players, when they're walking in, they're sort of sizing the shot up and getting a feel for the shot and then building their stance around their feel and their shot shape.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with the amateurs, what I see too much is they're so clouded over with all the technical aspects that they're trying to fit into this one swing that they come in and they really have no spatial awareness or target awareness, and they got so many different swing thoughts running through their mind that so often I see them draw the club back and they haven't even taken a look to see,
Sure.
number one, where they're aligned or have any sort of reference to the target. And I always find that quite interesting when I play in pro-ams.
All right, so step into this last one. And for the viewers, it's like you're saying, don't have all these thoughts and get static.
All right, let's see if I can pull one off here.
That's a good one to end on.